When you raise a child on your own, you imagine one day he'll look at you and say, "Thank you, Mom, for everything." I didn't expect luxury or grand gestures, just respect. A phone call, a seat at the table. But that morning, as I finished packing my suitcase for the family vacation I paid entirely for, my phone buzzed with a message that made my hands tremble. "Mom, you won't be joining us. Emily prefers to keep it only her family this time. Hope you understand." "No, sorry. No, we'll make it up to you." Just that. I stared at the screen, feeling my stomach twist. Emily, my daughter-in-law, the woman who smiled to my face and sneered behind my back. I had paid for their flights, their hotel suite, the private villa in Santorini, everything. But apparently, her family didn't include me. I had been replaced, erased, by the very woman my sacrifices helped my son marry. At first, I cried. Then, something inside me shifted. Not in anger, but in power. Because what Emily didn't know was that I controlled the travel fund. And as they walked toward that first-class gate, dragging their designer luggage behind them, I froze the entire account. They boarded the plane. The card didn't. And that's where my real story begins. I remember the day I decided to surprise my son, Daniel, with the vacation of his dreams. It was supposed to be a celebration, his new job promotion, their 5th wedding anniversary, and my own retirement after 30 years as a nurse. I had saved up for years, not for myself, but for him. Because when you're a single mother, your child's happiness becomes your purpose. Daniel had always been a sweet boy, shy, intelligent, respectful. But after he married Emily, things changed. She wasn't cruel outright. She was strategic. Every boundary she drew was wrapped in polite words and fake smiles. "Oh, Mrs. Carter, you shouldn't stress yourself cooking. Daniel and I will order dinner." "Oh, you don't have to join our family photos. Maybe next time." She carved little distances between us, one polite comment at a time. But I ignored it, because Daniel seemed happy. Until that text. When I got it, I was already dressed, my suitcase zipped, my passport ready. I had just baked banana bread to take on the trip. I had even printed a custom itinerary for everyone. And then, that message. My first instinct was to call him. But as I stared at my phone, I realized no explanation could justify what they'd done. Not when I had paid for everything, down to the airport transfers. Instead of calling, I opened my laptop and logged into the joint travel fund I had set up for the trip. It was connected to a premium family card, the same one they planned to use for everything on the island. With one click, I froze the entire account. Not a cent could move. Then, I waited. 2 hours later, as I sipped tea by my window, my phone rang. Daniel's voice was panicked. "Mom, what happened to the card?" "We're at the check-in counter and it's saying the payment didn't go through." "Oh," I said softly, pretending to think. "That's strange. Maybe it's because I paid for everything. But since I wasn't joining you, I assumed you wouldn't need it." "Mom, please don't do this," he whispered. "Emily's furious." "Good," I said, my tone calm. "Maybe she'll remember this next time she decides who counts as family." I could hear Emily in the background, her voice sharp and loud. "Tell her she's being petty. This is ridiculous." I smiled. "Tell Emily this isn't petty. It's financial clarity." Before he could reply, I ended the call. For the first time in years, I felt peaceful. Later, I learned that they had to step aside at the check-in desk, arguing in front of a crowd. The staff had offered them economy seats on a different flight, if they could pay another $3,000 immediately. Their faces must have burned red. Apparently, Emily called her parents to wire money. It didn't go through fast enough. They missed the flight. By the time they managed to board a cheaper one the next day, they had to downgrade their hotel, and the villa reservation I'd made under my name was cancelled automatically. Meanwhile, I booked myself a small cruise to the Bahamas. Alone. With my own cabin, spa credits, and peace of mind. I didn't tell Daniel where I was. But I posted a picture online, me in a sun hat, sipping coconut water on the deck. The caption? Sometimes peace tastes better than betrayal ever could. When I returned home a week later, I wasn't surprised to find Daniel at my doorstep. He looked exhausted. "Mom," he said quietly, "I'm sorry. Emily wasn't with him." He told me how everything went wrong, the delayed flight, the lost luggage, the downgraded hotel. And then, the final straw, Emily's parents argued with him for not planning better. She had embarrassed him in public. And when he defended me, she called him a mama's boy. That's when he finally saw the truth. "Mom," he whispered, eyes glistening, "I let her turn me against you." I hugged him, tight. "What matters is you finally opened your eyes, sweetheart." A month later, Daniel came over again, this time with divorce papers. Emily had filed first, citing irreconcilable differences. I didn't say much. I just made him dinner, his favorite, chicken pot pie, and we talked like we hadn't in years. By Christmas, he and I were closer than ever. He surprised me with a framed photo, me, him, and his late father, taken years ago. The inscription read, "Thank you for never letting me forget who I am." I smiled, tears in my eyes. He told me, "Next year, we'll go on that vacation again. Just you and me this time." And that's exactly what we did. This time, I didn't need to freeze any accounts. Because my son finally remembered the one thing money can't buy, a mother's love. Weeks later, I received an email from the resort manager in Santorini. He said, "Mrs. Carter, your cancelled villa reservation became available to a honeymoon couple who told us your story. They called you an inspiration." I smiled, replying simply, "Sometimes, losing a seat on a plane means finding your wings again." Because betrayal may sting, but standing up for yourself? That's freedom. And freedom, my dear, is priceless.